This conversation is powered by Google Illuminate. Check out illuminate.google.com for more. We're diving into a fascinating theological puzzle today. If God created the earth, why would he destroy it? It seems counterintuitive, right?
Exactly. The idea of a creator undoing their creation, raises some serious questions about divine purpose and the overall narrative of the Bible.
And the traditional timeline of creation and destruction doesn't quite fit with some interpretations of Scripture, you know?
Right. The concept of a single catastrophic end seems less compelling when you consider the possibility of multiple ages.
So let's explore the idea of a previous age, a time before the creation story as we typically understand it.
That opens up a whole new perspective on the biblical narrative, allowing for a more nuanced understanding of God's actions.
This previous age concept suggests a world existing before the one described in Genesis. What are your thoughts on that?
It allows for the possibility of a pre-existing world, perhaps even one marred by rebellion and conflict, which could explain the without form and void state mentioned in Genesis. Yeah.
So the destruction in Genesis 1-2 might not be a complete annihilation, but rather a reshaping, a restoration of a pre-existing world.
Precisely. A cleansing, a renewal, rather than a brand new start from scratch. It fits better with the idea of God working with creation, not just creating it anew.
I see. This also changes our understanding of the foundation of the earth phrases found throughout Scripture.
Absolutely. Instead of referring to the very first creation, these phrases could refer to the refoundation, the stabilization of the game after a cataclysmic event.
Let's look at Jeremiah 51:15 specifically. The verse speaks of God making, establishing, and stretching out the heavens and the earth. How does this fit into the previous age theory?
The Hebrew words used here suggest actions beyond simple creation. Established could mean fixed or repaired, implying a pre-existing structure needing restoration.
And stretched out could be interpreted as overthrew or subdued, suggesting a conflict or upheaval.
Right, exactly. It paints a picture of God intervening in a pre-existing world, not just creating it ex nihilo. This aligns with the idea of a cosmic battle, a war in heaven.
This interpretation aligns with other passages that hint at a pre-existing cosmic order.
Yes, passages like Job and Proverbs suggest a world existing before the one described in Genesis. This isn't a new idea, but it's often overlooked.
This two-age model also impacts our understanding of the final judgment and the lake of fire.
Instead of a single, immediate judgment, we have a delayed judgment spanning two distinct ages. Satan's reign in the first age, followed by God's reign in the second.
This makes the concept of the lake of fire more theologically sound. Why would God create a perfect world only to destroy it? That's a good point.
It's a more logical progression. The first age ends with judgment, and the second age begins with a renewed creation. It's a cycle of creation, corruption, and restoration.
This framework allows for a more coherent narrative, resolving the apparent contradiction between creation and destruction.
It's a more satisfying explanation, offering a more complete picture of God's plan and purpose.
How does this reinterpretation of the previous age affect our understanding of Genesis?
Genesis 1 becomes less about a creation ex nihilo and more about a restoration, a renewal of a world already in existence.
So the days of creation could be periods of restoration, not necessarily literal 24-hour days.
Precisely. It allows for a more flexible interpretation, accommodating scientific findings without compromising the core message of the Bible.
This approach allows for a more nuanced understanding of God's relationship with creation.
It emphasizes God's active involvement in the world, his ongoing work of restoration and renewal.
This perspective challenges the young Earth creationist view. How do we reconcile these differing interpretations?
The young Earth view focuses on a literal interpretation of Genesis, neglecting the broader context and the numerous passages suggesting a more complex timeline.
Our interpretation emphasizes a more holistic understanding of Scripture, considering the entire biblical narrative.
It's about finding a harmony between faith and reason, between the literal text and the overall message.
It's about understanding the why behind God's actions, not just the what.
It's about seeing the bigger picture, the overarching narrative of creation, corruption, and redemption.
What are the broader theological implications of this two-age model?
It emphasizes God's patience and long-suffering, his willingness to work with creation even in the face of rebellion.
It highlights the ongoing nature of God's work, his continuous effort to restore and renew his creation.
It offers a more hopeful perspective, suggesting that even after destruction, there is always the possibility of renewal and restoration.
It provides a framework for understanding the ultimate triumph of good over evil.
It's a story of hope, a story of redemption, a story that resonates with our own experiences of struggle and renewal.
Where can listeners go to explore this perspective further?
They can delve into the various interpretations of Genesis, Job, and Proverbs, looking for clues about a pre-existing world.
They can also explore the writings of theologians who have explored this two-age model.
And they can engage in thoughtful discussions with others, wrestling with these complex theological questions.
It's a journey of faith and reason, a journey of discovery and understanding.
It's about seeking truth, wherever it may lead.
The importance of considering the entire biblical context cannot be overstated.
Taking individual verses out of context can lead to misinterpretations and a fragmented understanding of God's plan.
This discussion has shed light on a compelling alternative interpretation of the biblical narrative. Thank you for sharing your insights.
It's been a pleasure.
The concept of a previous age offers a more coherent and theologically satisfying explanation of creation and destruction, aligning with the overall message of hope and redemption found throughout Scripture.